according to your research, 60% of employees, if given the opportunity, would fire their boss. Can you give us some explanation as to why? Because that's super high.
Well, we asked for responses of why they would want to fire their boss, and from that we came up with like 14 chapters for the reasons. Everything from mistrust, um, micromanaging, um, lack of motivation. All the things and areas and issues that psychologists, the great psychologists back in the day talked about, Hertzberg and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Lewin and Drucker. And so when we first started their survey, the first survey was right around COVID, uh, looking at 50 random large, medium, and small companies, and about 500 or so responses. 44% said they would fire their boss. Well, then, COVID took place and things happened. So last January, we got together, my co-author, Matt Berman, and I, and said, I wonder how much COVID had to play into this. So what we did, we set up the same survey, sent it out to a new cohort of another 500, and we went back and forth. And we both said, well, you know what? I bet you it's going to be lower than 44% would fire their boss if they had the opportunity. Boy, were we blown away. The new survey, when it came back, at the results, 60% said they would fire their boss. And everywhere else in the survey, it was mirrored, almost identical. It's very interesting. Other than it jumped from 44% to 60% in 3-4 years.
I mean, we won't. I'm assuming you didn't ask this to control for it, but like I'm thinking about the timeline and the things that have happened, and I wonder if you got the uptick at least partly, because like inflation has hit, and yet a lot of salaries haven't changed, and so I would assume that a lot of employees are feeling like that stress and would be upset with their boss, even though their boss only like might have a fraction of control over whether or not they actually get a raise or not. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was interesting. Money wasn't shown to be one of the major issues. Things are changed. We talk about the transition out of COVID. As you know, many, many things began to change, I believe. Why the Great Resignation, for example? Well, I believe part of the reasons, people got re-engaged with the purpose, the meaning, tired of driving 2 hours, an hour every day from work, working
That's
12,
true.
15 hours. They enjoyed being home with family, being home, getting up with the kids, taking the kids to school, what was really important to them. And therefore, we had this great resignation. And so afterwards, here we are today. Well, people are back to work. I got it. But what we're seeing more and more of, in the companies that we work with, that the whole issue of psychological safety, of autonomy and flexibility are on the top of the list of what people want in the workplace. Yes, fair salary for sure. But what's more important is that they want to be trained. They want flexibility. They want to have some autonomy, make some decisions that did not happen. Companies were so focused on the bottom line. Let's get it done. Let's make money, as opposed to being more human-centric, being insightful leaders.
Sure. A degree of autonomy continually comes up as like a way to help drive engagement and reduce burnout and increase satisfaction.
The things that we psychologists have known and tested, but again, when companies who are still focused only on the bottom line, that's it. Well, I get it. It's a business. Makes sense.
Sure.
But at what expense? At the expense?
Right.
We don't have robots.
What costs are we not accounting for that is being caused by not addressing these core human needs in work? because that might be wiping out your profits. Like that, you could be possibly making a whole lot more money if you didn't have those costs. Like we
Yeah.
know that with turnover.
What was interesting, even equally interesting, was the follow-up question. See, the first question, if you had the opportunity, would you fire your boss? And then the second question was equally eye-opening. What would you be willing to give up for 1 year in order to fire your boss? Well, another 60% said one of these three things: some salary, some vacation time, or some promotion possibility to show their boss to the door. Wow.
I wonder how much, and this is just a hypothetical, but I wonder how much uh, of the results was like a comparison reaction. Like I just came off of COVID. I've been working at home. I got to forget about how terrible the commute was. I'm used to, because I'm working at home, having more control over my job. I'm used to not feeling quite as visible, but still getting my work done. And so then you come back and it's like almost magnified the comparison.
Well, that we thought about that, but on the other side of the coin, we thought about, well, they forgot about it, so it's going to decrease, the amount of how many people would want to fire their boss. It kind of like neutralize it. So we thought that way.
Yeah.
But we were surprised. So yeah. Look, if you step back for a moment and you consider how most leaders become leaders, it's probably one of three ways. You probably know, right? One, they have seniority. You've been here 25 years, you be the leader, right? Or
which means that you've been there for 25 years and aren't already the leader. You probably are lacking some of those skills.
You bet they have, right? Or could be the good old boys club, right? Who you play golf with. But the number one reason, you know what it is? Most leaders become leaders because they're good doers.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. We see that over and over again. Technically proficient, technically excellent, rises
100%. Yeah, they have all the technical skills, but here's the deal: as your technical skills, the person, that engineer, that leader whose technical skills are off the chart, great. But the leadership skills is an entirely different skill set. And they're not trained. That's what keeps us busy, right? In doing what we do, training leaders to be, high performing, insightful leaders. That's what we do because they're not trained. And all the people that, that I coach, executive coaches or vice presidents, CEOs, it's like I get calls all the time. And it's very similar. They go, "Oh, you got to coach so-and-so. Yeah, he or she they are great at what they do. Their skill levels are tremendous, but boy, they can't deal with the team. They can't deal with people."